funniest thing ever. A IT podcast with the technology not working properly. That couldn't be funnier. Like, you cannot plan that. Well, it's an interesting thing. I think it was recording. I had it set to record. And so it was recording as you were coming in. And then it dropped down. Then it recorded coming in, then dropped down. So I turned the recording off. And this time when you came in, it was fine.
Yeah.
So it didn't like the fact that you were getting recorded from the get-go. It wanted you to know that it was getting recorded after the fact.
See, that's my security coming into play right out of the gate.
Well, you see, there's the beauty. At MBA Chartered Professional Accountants, we have 3 core beliefs. 1, we believe that business owners are the most important people on the planet. 2, we believe that the traditional accounting firm business model is flawed and fails to serve you. And 3, we believe the MBA way gives you what you truly want and deserve, resources and advice that helps you grow your business and your life. This is the MBA Way podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MBA Way podcast. I'm your host, Eric Solbakken. And today I have on the podcast, Tony. He is one of the owners. Tony, look at that. I just said Tony. It's like, okay, Tony who? Are we going to do the last name? Or are we just going to go Tony? Is it Tony the Tiger?
Yeah.
Like, who is it? No. Tony Woods. It's Tony Woods. He is one of the owners and president of Think Communications. They've got offices in Victoria and Vancouver. Sorry, I'm slipping over my words here. But they design, implement, and provide ongoing support of clients' cloud and on-premise IT environments. Like MBA Chartered Professional Accountants, they take care of us. And that's why I'm so excited to have Tony on the podcast here, is that I love the work that he's done with us. He's simplified things so much for us and kept our IT tight. And so his specialty is working with business owners. And because you are a business owner listening to the podcast and watching the video here, I want to introduce you to Tony Woods, and we're going to have a great conversation. So without further ado, Tony, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Eric. Good to see you, my man.
You too. And as you can tell, this is like totally casual. It's like a good conversation. I don't go back and redo anything. So when I screw up on part of the podcast, we just keep going because it's like having a regular conversation. So Tony, we talked kind of a little bit beforehand about what we're going to do for this podcast. And ultimately, for me, the big thing out there is cybersecurity and what to worry about, what not to worry about. And it's a big scary thing. It's a scary world out there. There's attacks happening here, there, and everywhere. And so I want to be able to help our listeners, our clients, to understand what they should be looking for, what they can do, and how specifically how you can help them. So what I wanted to do is just kind of, as I do with all my guests, is do a little Scooby-Doo ending, go to the beginning and say, give me a little backstory on yourself and then how you got into Think Communications. Like, how did Think get born? Tell me.
Yeah. In 2005, Think was born from a former business partner. Yeah. And in 97, I went back to school to become an IT person. After a 2-year computer associate degree, got a job with the BC government, and very fortunate right out of the gate. I was immersed into 40 servers across all of British Columbia and 3,500 users. From there, I went on to be the IT, so I guess senior systems administrator for National Money Mart. Not sure if you've ever heard of them.
Oh, the Money Mart. Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, what was the tagline again for Money Mart?
$3 on a hunt.
Oh, yeah, $3 on a hunt, and they're open late.
Yeah,
that's sort of one. Yeah, I remember. I knew there was one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
that's right.
They were owned by a U.S. Company called Dollar Financial Group. So at the end of my 5-6 year tenure, I was managing 4 global data centers. So I kind of gone from just local systems admin to like now I'm global. Wow. And that was amazing. I had everything dialed in, and I saw that BC Ferries was looking for a big change. They had outsourced all their IT. They were bringing it back in-house. Yeah. I applied to the team lead of the server team, and I thought, holy smokes, like all I got to do is take care of BC Ferries. Like how, because I'm going from global to local again. And well, it turned out to be quite challenging. You got 40 floating vessels out there, 40 floating data centers, if you will, that you got to keep in communication and all that sort of stuff. And all the while along, I was buying hardware and software from Think Communications. And in 2010, probably 2009 a little bit, I reached out to the former owner of Think and I just said, hey, I think I know what I want to do with my career. And he basically said, I can't afford to hire you, but what if we do a partnership type thing? So I launched professional services of Think. So going into all of Think's company clients. And I was kind of parachuted in as a specialist to do email migrations, virtualization, some security aspects of it. It wasn't as prevalent back then as it is now. And fast forward to today, we are a fully fledged managed IT service provider with probably close to 80 clients that we manage all across BC, up and down the island, things like that, including MBA, CPA. Love you guys. And a core focus of mine day to day is I'm the virtual CIO, Chief Ideas Officer. So I'll take off the Think hat and put on the client's hat. And I want to do what's best for the client. So if it's a service that Think can't offer, that's okay. We've got partnerships right across Canada. I'll bring in a third-party partner and say, look, this is my client. Take care of them. Give them the white glove service. And as long as my client's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, and you've done it with us, with our other IT guy that you sent me to fix those on the website to actually help us set up the podcast. You're like, oh yeah, Eric, we don't take care of this, but go. Why am I going blunt here? What's his name again? Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's waiting for your email. Like he responds so fast.
No.
He says, like, is he sitting around just waiting for my email? The dude is like a machine.
I know he is. Yeah,
he's a machine. So, anyways, dude, like you went from $3 on a hun to selling pirate packs on BC Ferries to analyzing pirate packs being on BC Ferries to like business owners. So, but you've got a lot of experience from some pretty big names. Like, I mean, National Money Mart, I mean, that was huge. And then BC Ferries that's a massive, like I live right near the ferry terminal in Victoria, like out by Land's End. So I see the ferries go by every day and it is a machine. It is there's so like my mind starts getting a little bit boggled about how many moving parts there are.
Incredible.
It's just an incredible experience that you've had. Like your resume is strong, man.
Yeah. And then now I have the pleasure of calling a ton of clients or a ton of companies in and around Victoria and the mainland as clients.
Yeah.
And I take a lot of pride in driving around the city and seeing, oh, that's a client, that's a client, that's a client. Even as far as Tofino, like the Wicked Inish Inn is a client, like a world-class resort.
Yeah. Awesome.
They're awesome. And I'm proud to say that they're a client of Thinks.
That's awesome. So what made, on the personal side, like, so what made you go, National Money Mart's not my thing. BC Ferries isn't my thing. I really want to go and work with business owners. Like, what is it about helping business owners that you love the most? Like, what is it that got you into that space?
So it's a great question. I got bored. So like what I found myself is like when I started at Money Mart, as an example, things were kind of in disarray. And me and along with the team and things like that, we got it to a point where I kind of had my feet kicked up and I'm like looking for the next adventure kind of thing. And, I hate to say it, but it was run out of the US. And with that comes a lot of pressure on call 24/7, great experience, no regrets. It was fantastic. And then the same happened to BC Ferries. A huge project we did in there was to virtualize the entire fleet. So getting rid of all the physical servers and putting in virtual ones. And, BC Hydro did a study that showed that we saved enough power to power 80 homes for 8 years. And again, that project was done. And I'm like, okay, I now know what I want to do with my career. I love coming into disparate systems and I can see through the fog. I can see what's on the other side. Once I know and understand what the company and or client, now it's clients, what they're up against. So as a virtual CIO, one of our mandates after bringing a client on board for 2 months is getting to know where the business is going, right? So I have about an hour and a half questionnaire that we go through, creates a scorecard, gives you your IT posture, and it'll, in the very first 3 questions, I say, what are your growth opportunities? What are your efficiency opportunities, or where can we find some? And where can we reduce the risk? So I'm not even focusing on the latest whiz-bang CPU from, Lenovo or the next generation firewall or what have you. Yes, those are important, absolutely, but I want to know about the business. And so I'm focusing on the business, and the questionnaire, as it's being read out and answered, we're always tying it back to those three categories. And it's my favorite part of the job. I love it.
So here's interesting. So the last podcast that I did, which was actually, I shot it yesterday, or recorded it yesterday, is with Andre Brisson. And Andre Brisson, he's an engineer back in Toronto, good friend of mine, but he's actually started a coaching program called the ADHD Entrepreneur. It's the impulsive thinker. He was telling me about the tendencies. Did you know like 1/3 of entrepreneurs have ADHD?
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Like it's great. Like that, but one of the key things he told me, he goes, I came into a company and it's first engineering firm, and he goes, it was in disarray and I just ate it up. And he said, but the problem was as soon as it shifted to the status quo, he said, I became a problem because I started dumpster fires just so I could put them out because I got bored. And you just, it's big work. So it's interesting, or you're trying to change stuff. And him and I had the same kind of conversation when it came to the accounting space and the legal, or the engineering and the accounting space, is that they don't want to change. And he's entrepreneurial minded. I'm entrepreneurial minded. You're entrepreneurial minded. We need a challenge. We need something to sink our teeth into. Where's the problem? How can we create more value in the world? It's like, especially with BC Ferries, it's like a big corporation, big bureaucratic corporation. Once it gets into status quo, that's why you got bored, because you're an entrepreneur. I'm not saying you have ADHD, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs have ADHD tendencies. And it was
challenge. I love this.
Yeah. The next challenge, but then finding what really stokes your fire.
Yeah.
Like that's what I like. The storyline is going, okay, I did this and this and this. And then I realized what I really like is the problem solving. And for our entrepreneurial clients and our listeners, it's owning your own business is nothing but a continual strain of problem solving. Yes or no?
100%.
All day. That's all you do, right? Like when you're going to go into entrepreneur, you're going to be a business owner. You're putting out fire. You're putting out problems. You're a problem solver. That's constantly what you do. So the fact that that's something you love to do and you're doing it for other businesses, that's why I see how it fits for you. Right? Like we never had that. You and we've known each other. We've talked, but we've never had like a deep conversation about this. But that's just really cool for me to hear that you found your thing. And so it's about looking to the future. And that's what we do at MBA as well. We're not like the traditional accounting. And so it's just like, okay, what'd you do last year? And here's put the numbers in boxes and we'll tell you what we did last year. No. Where are you going? Yeah. What do you want to grow? What do you want to do with your company? And that's why when you're talking about those things about where are we going with the company, then I can bring my skill set to the table to help you get there. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So now we've established, Tony, the story that I can't get $3 on a hunt out of my head. And they're open late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then of course the BC Ferries food. Okay. So, but we've decided, so this is your expertise. So now when you're in this, one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about is like cybersecurity isn't a sexy topic. It's like kind of like going to the dentist. Like people, they know they have to do it, but they don't really want to, right? It's like you don't want to buy insurance, but you're really glad you have it when you bought it. But when it comes to cybersecurity, my thing for me is I wanted to unpack the scariness of it to say it's not as, it's a scary thing, but I want people to address it and how they address it properly. So I wanted to talk to you about what are some of the key security dangers that the business owners may not even be aware of whatsoever. And these are some things you didn't know, and we want to bring some highlights just so that our listeners can go, holy shit, I never thought about that, Tony. Thank you. Right. And then ultimately from there, I want to go into, what does what can Think do to help them? Because we love what you do for us. It's fantastic. You've taken a whole bunch of burden off us so we can focus on what we do well. You can do that part. But let's talk about those dangers. What are some of the things that we should be looking for?
So there's two things. One is we call it the human firewall. Your end user is going to let you down and click on something or surf to some site or do something. And the other is, we're too small. Why would they be interested in me? You're the exact demographic they're going after. Because when they ransomware the smaller guys, $1,500, $1,500, $1,500, $1,500, on and on and on. Or they come to you and they say they want $30,000. And the biggest thing that we're also seeing in the market is that cyber insurance not paying out. They've got, what started out as a one pager to say, do you have a firewall? Do you have antivirus? Very simple things. Now it's at least 6 pages, takes me about an hour to fill out with the client because everyone was getting ransomware and they're paying out all this money and the insurance providers are like, whoa, we're getting hosed here. So I've been through real world scenarios with clients that had cyber insurance and then being on the phone while we're in the middle of the incident response and the guy's coming back and going, yeah, we're denied, like on a Zoom call. And I'm just like, yeah, here we go again.
Yeah. The insurance people realize that their the pyramid scheme that is insurance wasn't working in this space because it was collapsing. So the model collapsed on them and they're like, oh no, we can't pay out these, we can't do it anymore. Yeah. It's kind of like, you watch The Incredibles, the movie The Incredibles from Disney?
No, I didn't.
You haven't seen that? Oh, dude, it's the funniest thing. Yeah. You have?
No, I said I guess.
But you haven't. You got to see it. The Incredibles. It's a cartoon. Anyways, he's talking about and he's working in this place with insurance, and the guy is constantly trying to find ways to allow people their insurance claims. And the head owner comes in and he goes, "What are you doing? You can't start giving away. You can't say yes to all these people. How are we going to appease our shareholders? Like you can't do it." So it's crushing in that. I didn't realize the insurance model was crushing on itself. But You've said 3 things here. So the first one is you said they go after my end user, my client. So how does that work? And I think it ties into the thing.
Very simple. I just got an email yesterday from a client who got compromised. Okay. So the threat actors came in from the outside, like office365.com, because they don't have multifactor authentication enabled. They brute force guessed the password. Now they're in their mailbox. No one has a clue. They've created some rules. So they're sending emails out. And if someone says, are you sure I'm supposed to open this? What am I doing? The end user that's compromised doesn't even see the email because it's going into the deleted items folder. But the threat actor knows that it's going in the deleted items folder. So they reply to it and say, yes, I'm sure this is for you. Please open it. And inevitably, it's a link to, could be a document for a quote or a proposal.
Okay.
People put their credentials. It doesn't work. They put it in again, exactly the same. Now that threat actor has that person's credentials and their email address. And it's just a vicious cycle.
So you're saying like my client gets hacked by this threat actor or the actors you're calling it. Right. They go in and now they're secretly sending emails to that client's clients saying blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The client doesn't even know that they're going out. And that's why every once in a while, I'll get a message from somebody and says, holy crap, I'm so sorry. I've been hacked. And if you received any emails from me, just ignore them. Yeah. It's because they didn't even know they were coming out because they go out and then they go into the deleted folder and you never see them. So it's like someone's using your email, sending them out, and you don't even know that it's happening.
Exactly.
And so I, as the small guy, so we call it the small guys getting attacked, which is a second point, is that they're going after the small guy to get to multiple people. So you're able to get through, it's like a spider web, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then it keeps going in.
Just keeps going. And then they just slowly collect people's email addresses and passwords.
Right.
And then now they've got maybe a pattern. Like if you use the same password all the time, which obviously.
Yeah.
Right? So they're hoping that that's the email address for their banking, as an example, or they might try it on social media. They gather this information and they just start using it to their advantage.
Here's a question for you. So with passwords, because we're talking, that's the major entry point, the hack point. It's like, yeah, it's I love my dog, 1970. Like it's like I love Rocky, my dog, and then 1970 is in the year I was born. So I'm using that, and they're hacking it all the time. What is a simple fix or a resource that people could use for password protection? Like, what would you recommend that they use for a password protection or to be able to create? Because otherwise, you can't memorize 1 point or,
No,
1, 2, 3 ampersand tam, exclamation mark, capital Z, small z, right?
Yeah. So we recommend a password manager. You can store all the passwords, and when you're on the browser, and it recognizes that it's for banking, as an example. All you do is click sign in, and it just puts the credentials in, and in you go.
Yeah. I use LastPass.
Yeah. Right. So that's a technology that, I don't think my mom's going to know how to use it. Right. So, for the non-technical people, what we recommend is close to what you were just saying about you love your dog Rocky, but with some spaces and some capitals and numbers. So it's called a passphrase. So a 14-character passphrase would take 34,000 years to brute force crack until the supercomputers come out and can do it.
Yeah, the quantum computers.
Yeah.
Then we're in a whole new ball game right there.
Yeah.
But let's not worry about that. But let's talk to our business owners then. So, I mean, this is my little plug. It's like, if you don't have like a LastPass generator for your team, and your team's not using that, and they're just memorizing things, you're ripe to get hacked. Correct?
If you're using this just a simple password, like
if you're the simple password,
right? Yeah, like it's back in the they still websites still do it, and it drives me nuts. Has to be 8 characters minimum, upper, lower, special characters, and so people naturally get frustrated.
Yes, so they just go, "Oh, screw it." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Allow what like the National Institute of Security is saying is allowed. Microsoft is saying allowed to allow passphrases with spaces in them and any characters. It doesn't matter.
Right. So I could put down Ozzy Osbourne as my favorite heavy metal artist.
How simple is that?
Yeah.
And that's more 12 characters.
And I'll remember it.
Yeah.
And I'll have a space in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a capital O, maybe a 0.
Okay. Right. And maybe some like finger, like some double have. For those who are listening to the podcast, I'm doing the devil horns, the Ronnie James Dio. For those of you who remember the Ronnie James Dio devil horns with my fingers right there.
Just put some emojis in that password.
Yeah, exactly. Rock on.
Yeah.
Okay. So end users, the small users are getting hacked, thinking you're too small. You were saying. Yeah. Like that was the second thing you said. Is that?
We'll take a step back. It's all size of clients.
Okay.
My point was that my small clients think it'll never happen to me. Right. I got large clients a very large client, obviously can't name names. Yeah. They were hacked twice, like ransomware, like really, really bad.
Yeah.
Not a managed client, but someone we resold hardware and software to, and some consultations and things like that, and they were huge, and
that's a big one. That was massive. Yeah, that was a big one. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I know when I talk to business owners and I go to a lot of lots of events and stuff around the world. I dealt with a bunch of business owners. I have some mastermind groups I deal with, and ultimately it's the same thing. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm too small. No, they're not going to really care about me." Yeah. But I think that's a default for. I know it's a default for me to go, "Oh, I'm too small to worry about that. They're not going to care about me." It's because the concept or the thought of engaging someone like yourself to take care of it seems so daunting, and that it's overkill. And I call it like sometimes taking a sledgehammer to a thumbtack. Like I feel like I don't need to hire some big community, like some big IT company to come in and take care of this stuff. And so because it seems so all or nothing, it's just this big or nothing, so many people don't do anything. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what I was hoping you could kind of dispel that for our listeners here to say, actually it's not as painful as you think. Like I know for a fact, and you see how I did that there. It's not as painful as you think. Thanks. Yeah, hey, I'm here all day. I'm here every day. But it's not as painful as you think. It's like it was for us. I'm like, I was so relieved when we finally passed it over to you, because we were doing it in-house, and we have to have very strict standards at MBA because, we're looking at clients' data and it's all there. So we have to be on it all the time. So we had our own in-house person. And then I was like, no, let's get Tony to take care of it. That was one of the things that I brought in. I was like, no, get it to Tony. And it was just such a weight, like came off our shoulders. Like, oh,
right.
You don't have to
let me sleep at night for my clients. Like I carry the burden for my clients when they're not doing it. And I'm just like, oh, and then, yesterday, one of the clients is just refusing to do it. One of their staff gets compromised. I'm just like, so frustrating.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's very simple. There's a few simple things that you have put in place, and we've got it all laid out when we do our VCO report and things like that. But a lot of people push back on multi-factor authentication, and I'm just like, but can you explain it? Can you explain that just for our listeners? Yeah. If somebody doesn't quite understand, we do that in the accounting world too. We'll rattle off a whole bunch of like acronyms and stuff, and everybody's like staring. I remember doing that when I was at the firm, and I would rattle off a whole bunch of acronyms. A client would stare at me, and I'd go, "Sorry, I'm doing accountant speak again, aren't I?" Yeah, and that's like me listening to a mechanic tell me what's wrong with my engine.
Yeah, but can you just explain what they mean, like this simple fix that we're talking about?
Yeah. So basically a second authoritative piece of information for you to log in. So everyone's got their user ID. Everyone's got their password.
Yeah.
Now let's make sure it's really you. I'm going to send you a text to your phone, or you might have your Microsoft Authy or Google Authy app.
Yeah. You set that up for us, right? You did that for us, right? Because I know anytime I go to log into the email at MBA, you have to open up there's my daughter there. There's a goofball face there. Anyways, yeah. You can tell my daughter gets a hold of my cell phone because she puts a little selfies. This is selfies, little stick tongue out. Anyways, it always comes up as the authenticator, and I have to use that to actually authenticate. So that's what you're talking about, two-factor
authentication, multi-factor authentication. That's right. Yeah. And I always say to the client when they push back, I'm like, well, you're doing it for your banking. Like the bank is making you do it. You're accepting that. So why wouldn't you accept it to protect your data? It just, why wouldn't you? It's just, and it's an easy one.
Yeah, but so Tony, I got a degree in psychology, right? I got accounting and psychology degree. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into psychology or if I wanted to go into accounting. I ended up going to accounting, but I'm always curious. I realized that I'm curious on why people do things, why they do it. Because you were just explaining, like, people don't want to do two-factor authentication. Like, it's too much of a pain in the butt. And as you're explaining it to me, I'm going, you know what? I actually remember feeling the same way when it first popped up, and I went, "Oh man, I got to do something." Like I actually, and I want it to be safe. Where is that coming from? Like, why am I not wanting to take care of that security? Like, I'm just like a regular human, like anybody else. It's like, why is that there? But that's why this conversation is so important to me, is I really want to understand why it's important. That's why these conversations are so great, is because it reminds us that this is an important part of your business, and here's why. But why do you think people are like that? I don't know if we can answer this on that. There's a bigger question.
You
live in this world.
Inconvenience. Like, I hear the word inconvenient. I just want to log in and get to work and do my thing. And it's 5 seconds extra of your day. Like, I don't. Like,
I know. Like, dude, it's literally, everybody has their phone. Like, everyone has their phone. It's like this new extension of their body. And like, literally, when I go to type in and bang, 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 it goes authentic. I was the first, I was like, oh man. And now it's just like, bang, bang, oh yeah, authentication. Yeah, boom, boom, done. And like, literally, in the time it took me to explain it, it's over.
Yeah.
And that little step there for our listeners there, that second, what was the phrase you called it again? Second factor authentication?
Multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication.
Because there's multiple ways to get that code. So you got the Authy app like you showed on your phone.
Yeah.
Or you can get the text. There's a couple ways to get that next factor authentication. So
okay.
So two-factor authentication, basically.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's that's like I said, it's a very simple thing to implement. And like I said, I always go back. So we have a client right now who's not happy that it's been turned on. And I logged on. I had one of my guys log on, go into the security logs of Office 365 and take a screenshot. He's actively being targeted. You can see it. It's coming from Slovenia.
Yeah.
So I said, take the pictures and send it back and say, look, they're actively trying to log in as you and do exactly what I explained earlier. Come into Office 365, be behind the scenes, create some rules, send out some emails. The classic, I can't, now they're inside the inbox and they can see the sent items. They can see how the person types and how they say, regards, whatever. And so it's really that person. It's not a spoof. And they're saying, I can't talk right now. I'm going to a meeting. I need 7 Apple gift cards. And the staff member unknowingly is like, oh, okay, I better go get them because he's my boss. And it looks legit.
So this multi-factor, thank you for this, Tony, because all of a sudden my brain just started going bang, 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 like all the times that I logged in and it goes, set up multi-factor identification now. And I always go, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. One of the hiccups, because one of my hiccups is I got a lot of remote users that use that, or not remote users, but I got virtual assistants that log into my same stuff. So that becomes a bit of a interesting thing. If they're trying to log into something like my websites, I have them all done that way. They log into my website, it pings my phone. And as soon as it pings my phone, I'm like, oh, someone's trying to get into the thing. And then I got to send that message to my tech person, which is it's a little bit of a hindrance, but I'm now going to go back in and you're just highlighting this for me. I'm going to go back in to all those other ones that I don't necessarily use all the time. And I'm going to turn on multi-factor authentication for all the other businesses.
If you don't have that protection, right?
Yeah.
Your sites, not, they've got you hostage.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. That'd be more of a technical. I think we'll do that offline. I want to tell you the technical way of finding a way to do the multi-factor when there's multiple users accessing the same site. Do you know what I mean? Like I use LastPass, like what we talked about before, LastPass passwords. It's so easy because I can share those passwords securely with my VA in Bali. So she's in Bali, takes care of my website for the accountant success forum, and she posts my videos and the rest of that.
Yeah.
I can share her the password, but she doesn't have access to the actual password. She just clicks on and it automatically logs her in. So I don't share the password with anybody. It's in that secured, and it's really cheap, like really from the security side point. It's nothing. Yeah. It's that multi-factor. When it clicks and now she goes in and she can't get in until if it's popping up on my phone, how does she get that? The only way to work is for me to text it to her. And if she's doing it in the middle of the night, then it becomes a bit of a problem.
Well, not to get too much into the weeds, but like within the Microsoft world, they have something called conditional access policies. So if you know that person's always at that location,
the IP address,
you can, in theory, you can whitelist it and say that it's allowed. But again, that's I'm getting into the weeds a little bit. Okay,
well, no, it's good. No, you know what I want, and again, for me, this is like MBA. This isn't an issue for much because we don't have any offshore workers that we remote to, and that they need to have access on stuff. I'm talking about like the accountant success formula and some of the other businesses that I have that I need that. But so what, ladies and gentlemen, here's a case in point. I need to use Tony more. I just realized that. And the reason why I do these podcasts is because I meet with people. I learn so much from them and I'm like, oh, I need to do more. So you and I will talk more about that after. But so there's some simple things we can do. So we talked about having a password protected program. We have the multi-factor authentication. And then, you're talking about these attacks that come in. And that people are just we're not even aware that they're happening, right? We're not even aware that they're happening. So it's kind of like ignorance is not bliss, folks.
No.
It's not bliss.
So I've got the third level, the third layer, if you will.
Okay.
So it's called Manage, Detect, Respond, MDR.
Okay.
You have it at your organization.
Okay.
I had a chat with Erin.
Yep.
We explained it all. She's like, no brainer. Let's do it.
Okay.
This is so it's our, I won't say which product it is, but it's part of our security stack that it's actually, since we've brought you on board, any new clients that come on board, it's not even an option. They just get this.
You put it in.
back.
Okay.
That's how bad it is out there and how rampant it is out there.
Okay.
It's a no. If you don't want it, then we're not the right.
Not
the right customer for us, basically. So,
which I love, by the way, Tony. Like I that's my mantra. It's like success is who you say no to.
Yeah.
Success is what you say no to. Success is who you say no to. And so to go, hey, guess what? We're not a fit to work together. Here's someone else who could do it. Like at MBA, we have a certain clientele that we work with and we're a fit. It works like a dream.
Exactly.
Here's our model. Here's how we work together. We don't bill you by the hour. It's subscription based. We don't just put numbers in boxes. We want to help you with your future. If it's a fit, great. If not, no problem. And so you're the same way. It's like, if you don't want to do it, because I know that I've worked in this space enough with my other clients when I had my other accounting firm, and they would go and get IT, and then they're like, yeah, but I don't want to do this with them. So I asked them to cut this out and do this out. And I knew a couple other guys in the space, and they were like, it's so frustrating because I have to mix and match all the time. And I'm like, you're never gonna streamline your business if you're constantly you're over designing for each individual client. Like you're letting them mitch it.
We call it
the buffet
dog.
Sorry, say that again.
We call it the tail wagging the dog.
Tail wagging the dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because we know some vendors in our space and they have bronze, silver, gold, or silver, platinum, gold, whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, no, you get our service. This is what we have to offer. If you don't see the value of it, that's okay. Like no harm, no foul.
Right.
Like I can still sleep at night because my clients are implementing what I think is best practice. And I have anecdotal evidence across a broad spectrum of different clients in different spaces, and it just works.
I'm going to have to tell Erin that she's a trendsetter. But for any of the listeners out there, Erin's my wife. She's also a CPA, and she works in MBA as well. So she's been connected with Tony and to get things done up. So she's a trendsetter with the MDR.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So essentially, in the traditional sense, big companies like BC Ferries, BC Transit, they have security divisions, monitoring and watching. You just, think of, I hate to say it like this because I know a few of them, but there's like some nerds watching for alerts on screens and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can cost a company like BC Ferries in salaries. Let's just call it $500,000 just in salaries. Because you need a team 24/7, highly skilled, very smart people. How do I bring that down to my client base where there's a 15-person accounting firm or a 50-person law firm? Our product, one of our security stack products, has the MDR built in. So it's literally a tick box on the software. Now you have 400 engineers in Kitchener-Waterloo watching your system 24/7, 365. And so what this brings to the small business is peace of mind, knowing someone's watching your system 24/7. So the way we deploy it is, we deploy our software and then we enable the MDR portion. It has hooks into your firewall. It has hooks into your Office 365 environment. It brings all of that information and dumps it into their consoles. It uses machine learning and AI to get rid of all the noise, and create what they call the digital fingerprint of how the network operates. And once they've gotten that, it takes about a month to 6 weeks, and there's a lot of interaction between Think and this vendor, because they'll say, is this normal? Is that normal? So, and in his example is, is it normal for Erin's machine to move laterally in the network and log onto the boardroom PC at the office in Kelowna? Is that normal? Probably not. But, and so if it does happen, alarms go off and they say, hey, we saw this happening. So recently we were doing an upgrade for a client, and one of our techs was up super early to get it done before, and MDR alarms started going off. And our service desk manager didn't know that the tech was doing the work, and they're calling him saying, this is what's happening. We can see this is an anomaly. This isn't normal for this site. What should we do? And he made the right call because he didn't know about our tech doing the work. He goes, shut him off. Literally, click of a button, no more access on the network, completely isolated. And so that's the kind of peace of mind that comes with an MDR solution. And tying it back to cyber insurance, MDR is now a tick box. Do you have MDR?
Oh, okay.
And if you don't have MDR and you get ransomware, they're like, oh, you didn't have MDR. Sorry, you should have had that. Even though they approved the submission on the fact that they didn't have MDR and this client is paying whatever $1,000 a month to do it, to have insurance, they're like, oh, you didn't have it. Sorry.
This may be a bigger question that you may be able to answer, but what do you think about buying insurance, like the cyber insurance?
No point.
Just that was like
it's just like, no,
don't bother.
Self-insure. That's the trend we're seeing with our clients.
Self-insure. Yeah. In other words,
the average, like right now, the cyber insurance people are saying the average ransomware request is like $30,000 to $40,000 for the smaller businesses.
Yeah.
When I'm saying the 1,500 back in the beginning, those are like the super small people, but they're saying the average ask is $30,000 to $40,000. So we have clients that are now self-insuring. And it's honestly, just based on my experience. I've been through 5, nothing's paid out.
Yeah. It would seem to me that, and here's a hack, or not a hack, here's a shortcut for all our listeners. You're running a business. Instead of paying cyber insurance security, or it's cyber insurance, take that money you're paying cyber insurance every month and pay it to an IT provider like Think to take care of you. And then
any security provider,
anything, but you see what I'm getting at? It's like
the plug, but yeah, no.
But why would you do that? That's why I have you on the dude. That's why you're on the podcast. I want to let people know how the great work you're doing. You do for us, and I think it's amazing. So I want to promote and highlight you. So you can be as humble as you want, but I'm not going to be humble for you. I'm going to tell the truth, right? And that's the thing. All I care about is that our business owners get what they need to be able to have the lives they want for themselves. Like at MB, we believe business owners are the most important people on the planet. And to stop. Everything in our modern world was created by business owner. Everything on my screen here, you can see the technology we're talking over, hospitals, churches, everything. Business owners. I want them to have the best resources available. That's why I started the podcast, is because I want to highlight great service providers and bring them resources so they can help grow their business and their life. So yeah, I'm going to sing your praises off the rooftops, Tony, because you're awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, speaking of resources, you said that there is this, you have like a free offer to help business owners, right? Now we've given them some of the tools to think about, but if you don't have this, and I really highly recommend this, what is the ASR you called it?
Yeah.
ASR. What's that?
Attack Surface Report. So it's simple as me asking for 2 pieces, maybe 3 pieces of information, nothing onerous whatsoever. Like, what's your domain name? What's the external IP address of your office? Maybe a couple other things.
Yeah.
That's it. For free, we do an attack surface report. We come back to you and we say, look, based on what we can see in the public and what we saw on your firewall, here's what we could do or not do. Maybe you're good. Maybe you're not good.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we present the report.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, then the next report that I think that you're seeing the list is the
blast radius. Yeah.
Yeah. The blast radius report. So the blast radius report is, we'll ask the business owner or the CFO, whomever, who are the top 5 people in the organization, or who can move money within the organization. Give us their names.
Yeah.
And we're going to go back for free and try to exploit those people. No damage. We don't wreck anything. We don't try to go into a banking system, things like that.
Right. It's just like, it's fake hacking. You're fake cyber attacking.
Yeah.
It's mock. We'll call it mocking. Mock cyber attack.
Ethical hacking.
Yeah.
We'll come back and show you that. And at that point, it's like, okay, now we should really do a proper holistic vulnerability assessment. Let's get, let us be inside your network.
Right.
Let us be inside the network. Let us put a tool in place. Let us scour
right.
everything out and see what's going on, and then come back with a report with all the vulnerabilities.
So I'm going down here. So again, for the listeners, pay attention to this. And Tony, where can they find this? Like, how can they get access to this?
Thinkcommunications.ca. On our website, there's a link to sales. Just sales at Think. And
sales at Think, thinkcommunications.ca.
Yeah.
And get the ASR, the attack service report. And from there, you can then go to the blast radius report. Which is also free. So these are both free resources. And this is the thing. I really want to highlight these free resources.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is I'm just going to put it out there. Remember I said the accountants, we're big acronym guys. We're using our acronyms all the time. Well, we've nailed 3 acronyms now. We have the DMR, which MDR. Sorry, MDR. You know, I wrote it down that way. I went dyslexic.
Yeah.
MDR, which creates that digital fingerprint. So you know it's normal or abnormal. There's the MDR.
Yeah.
We have an ASR and a BRR. So there you go.
I've never given the blast radius report an acronym yet.
Well, you got ASR and BRR.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So you got your BRR. You get ASR and BRR. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. You know what I love the most is seeing how much you love doing what you do. Like you love it. Every time I've communicated with you, I've talked to you, it's about this. And you're just like, no, you're really passionate about making sure their businesses are taken care of properly. And I also hear the frustration you have in the fact that most businesses don't have the right coverage. And I think that is the big hurdle for the entry point to get these more businesses being aware and taking proactive steps on cybersecurity is removing that barrier to that, oh my gosh, this is a big problem. And that's why I really, really want our clients to contact you to get this free report. Just, if anything, just get the 2 free reports and see what it looks like, right? And then from there, Tony can take care of the rest. If there's more to be done and if you're okay, you're good, he'll let you know that. If not, there's more you can do. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing we did at MBA. It's not as scary. And I'm going to do this. It's not as scary if you think, right? If you think cybersecurity is not scary. I don't have to worry about insurance. And I know that Tony's team, I didn't realize we had that many people back in Kitchener watching the machine. Yeah. And that Erin was a trendsetter on that. That's cool too. I have to let her know that.
I don't know that. Yeah.
Any questions I want to leave for the listener, Tony? Like any questions for them to ponder or to think about? Again, see, I did it again.
That's okay. Yeah. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Oh.
Okay. I don't go into conversations trying to scare people like to death. I just like to just say the truth. And so a saying that we use here is left of boom, right of boom. Okay, so
left of boom, right of boom. Yeah. And you're not talking about like a microphone stand, a boom. You're talking like explosion. Boom. Okay, left
somewhere.
Okay, got it.
You're done.
Yeah, okay.
Right? The left of boom is how well protected are we against a cyber threat? Do we have the right firewall? Do we have multifactor? Do we have MDR? Have we done an ASR and now a BRR?
Yes.
To understand our security posture. One thing we still haven't touched on is end user training, right? I called it the human firewall. Email phishing campaigns. Super cheap, super easy. We run them here at Think, right?
You keep firing them to us too, don't you?
Yeah.
I know, because I keep looking at it and see an email. I'm like, is this Tony's screwing with me here? I'm not clicking on that one.
Yeah. No. Right. And it's meant as education, right? So if you do it takes you to a phishing page that says you've been phished. Please watch this video on how not to get scammed again. And it creates reports. Yeah. We find it super handy for the HR departments to, when a new user starts 2 weeks into it, it's just part of their routine. Okay, let's see how savvy they are on the email.
Right.
Things like that. So those are some of the things you can do left of boom. Okay. Front of boom is, okay, they got you. How well protected are we to bring everything back? Or did we stop it in its tracks because our left of boom was set up properly. And we mitigated it basically.
Oh, right. Okay. You know, the thing that's really resonating here, it's not a matter of if it goes boom, it's a matter of when it goes boom.
And
right. And you know, and so what have I done at the proactive side to stop it? And then not only that, but if they get past the stop it part, what is the recovery part? Right? How well does it recover? Like, if anybody listening here, if you got a Visa card, I'm sure it's been hacked.
Yeah.
Like everybody's had to be like, literally it happens on a regular basis. Like all of a sudden, like, and Erin, she's big on this. She actually monitors, she gets notified every time there's a purchase. I can't buy her a bouquet of flowers without her.
I know I have to use like my kid's credit card at Christmas or something.
I know, exactly. I'm the same way. Actually, what I do is I start squirreling money away, just cash, like we're old school cash. Like you used to squirrel the money away to buy all the bad things you didn't want your parents to know about, right? I'm squirreling it all away. And I'm like, okay, I got enough money. I can go get something for Erin and she won't know I'm buying it, right? Because we get notification, all of a sudden it's like, oh, so you just bought this Apple iPhone cover in Zimbabwe. Nope, haven't been to Zimbabwe this week. And then all of a sudden there's another purchase in Indonesia, and then there's a purchase in Russia, and they're just little purchases trying to get it. But so it's happened, and it will happen to you. So it's not a matter of when it will go boom. It's a matter if it'll go boom. It's when it goes boom, and thinking about it left of boom, right of boom. I like that. I like that thinking around that.
Yeah, that's our mantra around here. You know, when we're talking about protecting our clients,
and we appreciate you protecting us and our clients.
I appreciate you guys as a client, and I just want everyone to be successful.
Yeah,
take a class out there.
Well, we're in alignment there because we want to support our business owners, and so this is fantastic. So again, please, for our listeners, go and check out these free offers. It's simple. It's easy. You can check out and see at a quick glance where you are at with your cybersecurity. Doesn't have to be scary. Get in touch with Tony. Tony, I appreciate the podcast and the interview. And I really
opportunity. It's been fun. Actually, you know, this is my first one ever. I've never.
Oh, you never done a podcast?
No.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, is it?
No,
you just you have a conversation about the things you love to do, and away we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, it's been awesome, man. Thanks.
Well, I'm glad I was your first.
Yeah.
I hope I've been gentle with you.
You've been so gentle.
Okay. Right on, Tony. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, man.
If you're a business owner or CPA who believes the accounting profession has let you down, then please reach out to us at www.mbacpa.ca so we can have a chat to see if we're a fit to work together. We're always looking forward to talking to you. See you next time.